Hi. I'm going to pitch you this story. I have an older friend who's going through a second round of cancer treatment. And one day when I was visiting her pre-pandemic last year, she said something to me that really stuck with me and kind of broke my heart. She said, "I just want to get better so I can find romance again." And this got me thinking about my own mom and her battle with cancer. And so all of these events have inspired this feature film, which I'm calling Primary Care. So at the heart of the story are two women. Jade, who's a 30-year-old, no-nonsense, brash auditor who surprisingly loves to have the occasional hookup. The other character that we're focusing on in this film, who's on the other side of the spectrum, is her mother, Dow, who is a very sweet, very nurturing widow who hasn't had sex since the death of her husband, which was a very long time ago. So how our story starts? Well, sadly, sweet Dow, the mother character, just got diagnosed with cancer, and now she's questioning everything. She's questioning her life choices, her sex life choices. And so, of course, naturally, she is going to turn to the one person she knows that she can turn to for help in this category, which is her daughter, who is very familiar with hookup culture, Jade. So, as you can imagine, Jade, who would rather not know anything about her mother's sexual fantasies or proclivities or fetishes, will of course step up to the challenge because we have to have a movie here, and she will rise to the occasion and help her mother not only try to beat cancer and get better, but also help her mother get laid. So imagine the humor of Bridesmaids and the emotional depth of The Farewell, and that is what I'm calling Primary Care.
I thought that was awesome, and not to like make it about me or make it personal, but I think a lot of people often will, just because it's tough to separate. I lost my father to cancer when I was 17. I had stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma 8 years ago, so like cancer is certainly something that I've lived with. So you hooked my attention very quickly. But I also like that you were able to give me a sense of the characters. They're very different, like this odd couple pairing between mother and daughter. That's great. But you take a very serious subject matter with cancer and kind of lighten it with the sexual stuff. And it makes it kind of fun and uplifting, and it makes it more palatable. Like, do I love cancer projects because of my past? No, it sometimes makes me sad, but I think you found like that interesting point of view and angle that like, oh, this is fun. Like, not that cancer is fun, but you found a way to kind of soften something that is generally viewed as sad and depressing. So I love that you had the personal angle to it. You got right into it. It was to the point. I liked it. You felt comfortable. I think you were at ease, and it just felt like you wanted to tell us about it rather than being nervous about it. So I thought you did great.
Thank you. And I'm so sorry. And congrats to you for beating cancer. That's
Thank you.
awesome.
I love the pacing. You were so measured in your tone, and not to the point where it felt like you weren't engaging. I was engaged the entire time because I was excited to hear what else was going to happen. I think the concept is so warm and welcoming. And even though it is based on something very sad, you forget about it as soon as you mention the relationship between this mother and daughter. And I think you centering that relationship, obviously, because that's your story, but the way that you centered it in the way that you pitched it is even smarter. The only thing I think I wanted, and I actually don't know if I actually wanted or not, but because it works both ways, but I think I would push setting the comps a little earlier.
Oh,
just
yes. You know what? It's so funny you mentioned that, because I was like, should I lead with that? But then I was like, girl. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, no, that's good to know.
It worked at the end too, but I guess I wanted to know sooner how
at the foundation in terms
of and what was I supposed to be feeling as listening to this very sad story. So yeah,
got you. And then I'm like, sex. No. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Quinn. That was my one note. It was, bringing up tone and setting first or earlier in
Yeah.
the pitch. And then for me, I mean, I do appreciate the brevity, but I think I just like details. I probably would have wanted a little bit more about the beats in the movie. Like it's obviously a 3-act structure. So, you can go into the setup, which you've done beautifully, and then go into act 2. Is there a plot twist in act 2, and then close it with act 3? So I would have wanted a little bit more detail, but that's just me. But like I said, I have my first, feature thing that I'm working on. So that's just, and then also I think you've done a great job with the characters too. I immediately get the sense of who they are as well. Again, maybe a little bit more detail about them, and I'm assuming the daughter's first gen, right?
Yes. Yes.
So those details are really important, especially now with people having an eye to buy more inclusive content. So
Right.
those pieces, she's first gen, her mom is from an immigrant,
Right.
coming
Yeah.
in. These are all things that because I'm a first gen myself. So I always think coloring in those pieces there, and you don't need to spend a lot of time on it. It's
No,
just one of those
totally.
quick
Yeah,
descriptors.
Jade, a
I
first
think
gen,
that helps.
daughter of the Vietnamese
Exactly.
woman Dao. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I hear you.
Exactly.
I hear you.
You nail on the head. Because as you were saying, I did think Farewell.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
that's a really great comp. And then Bridesmaids, you already know what that is about. So that's a really great comp. Yeah, no, the comps are great. Comps are really hard. It's really hard to come up with
Right.
comps for TV and features, because nowadays there are a lot of genres that get melded into one that you're seeing a lot. So it's good on you for figuring out that comp, because I immediately got what that was when you mentioned it.
Do you have any questions now that you have, all eyes on you? Do you have any questions that you want to ask? Or, and it's fine if you don't feel pressured, but I'm just giving you the opportunity if you wanted to ask anything.
No, I thought that was really great notes because, trust me, I could be here all night talking about this movie if you wanted me to, but like, they were like, you've got 1.5 minutes. I was like, oh, so like, trying to do the song and dance real quick. I'm not trying to make an excuse for myself, but no, I thought these were great notes because again, this whole call has been so informative in terms of like what you hear so many different things, but it sounds like there's commonalities amongst the different things that we just need to pool. And it's like brevity and clarity and showing your personal connection seems to be the overall overarching themes of what we need in a pitch. And I really appreciate this. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Kim. That was really great.
I'm pitching to you Mas Latina, which is a comedy series that I've been developing for a few years now. And it comes from a very personal place. I was born and raised in Los Angeles by a Guatemalan mother, but my father is American, but I grew up in a very Latino household. And I've just always been in this gray area, I feel, where like, I want to claim being Latina, but I don't know if I can. And just like, what is it to be Hispanic? Like, what are the nuances? And then like looking to what's in the mainstream and being like, I don't see any of that. Like, I see these stereotypes and they're very extreme, but there's so much more. And then also feeling like there's nothing absurd in that world. There's no like, so I really wanted to come to it with something a little bit more offbeat and really create this world where every character is full of contradictions. So Mas Latina centers around a 30-something Latina with 0 children, 0 romantic prospects, and 1 stand-up comedy dream. And this is about her struggle to find her her artistic voice. And what the twist here is that the key to her success comes from her wacky Latinx family. So once they come on board and they realize that this is her hobby, that this Latina who is disappointing them in every way is into stand-up, once they realize that that's her passion and she becomes clear on that, they all just jump on board, and it becomes like this real mix of them supporting her and then her riffing off of them, and I'll give you a little bit about these main characters. So Gabriella is the aspiring stand-up comedian, and she's a little bit the black sheep of the family, has bounced from like different weird jobs to different weird jobs. She's in her 30s. Like I said, no children, no romantic prospects. This stand-up thing is really, really like her thing now. And she kind of keeps it on the down low, right? Can't let her mom know because it's just judgment, right? Can't let her auntie know because it's judgment. Like, but they find out. And and then her mother is a traditional matriarch with a little bit of a twist. She's very entrepreneurial. So she throws parties all the time. She's always organizing in the community. And it's this thing where like, if homemaking weren't her only option when she was a younger person, she would be a CEO of a company, you know, but that wasn't an option for her. So being a homemaker is her A game. And then the auntie, Tia Mayra, is a manizer. So has had many suitors in her life, used to be a telenovela star, but now she cleans houses in Southern California. I didn't want it to be LA centric, but it is Southern California, which is very important because there's a very unique mix of Hispanic communities in Los Angeles and the Southern California landscape, and that's our background. And then we have this guy who we don't reveal his name in the first few episodes, but he's the tall Guatemalan, and he becomes a little bit of a potential suitor for Gabby. So there's this through line of a potential romance with him, and he's a brooding, very like emo character who is very handsome in a traditional way, and he's tall for being Guatemalan. So he's a legend in the neighborhood, right? Like, how is it that he's so tall, but he's Guatemalan, you know, like telling the contradictions, like every character has to have something that's like a little bit of a clash. And then we have this sort of like cowboy type of guy who you wouldn't expect it, but he's gay. And he's come out to his family all the time. And they're always like, yeah, don't want to accept that he's gay and try to hook him up with different, like, you know, second cousins and whatnot, like still holding on to but they're also like not forcing him. It's just like, they just can't quite accept it yet. And it goes on and on, this world. And there's also like a woke activist cousin who finds Gabby's humor, just doesn't quite like it, thinks that she's like not handling these concepts in the wisest way. And so they clash. And so basically, I would like to think of the show as a blend of like Comedy Central's Broad City a little bit with a socio-political gaze of HBO's Insecure, but it's all Hispanic culture. And what's also very important to me in the show is we get a lot of like the Chicano experience or Mexican American experience, but like I said, my mom's from Guatemala, and Central America has a lot of nuances. There's a lot of different, in terms of slang, cultural traditions, the food, all of that. So I wanted this household to be very Central American, right? So you've got a cousin who's from El Salvador, you've got, you know, someone from Guatemala, you got, and really explore that, because I think there's not enough of that. And so I really feel like it would really make a lot of people feel seen to have that, that portrayal. And yes, that's where my pitch is at right now. Thank you so much for your time.
We gave you a little bit more time because you jumped in at the, you know, last minutes, and everyone was smiling. So all good. Who wants to go first on this one? Quinn?
Really fun. Thanks for sharing. And I really loved how you dug into telling us who each characters were, and I think the rest of the group too is loving the Guatemalan legend because he's tall. So I think the way you laid out the character structures and the characters really continually pulled me in, and I think that last bit at the end, by just continually reminding us where we're at, and this Southern LA and all of the different dialects and kind of communities merging together. It kind of pulled it all together for me. So well done.
Speaking as a first gen, I'm sorry, I have to jump in. Like I love that there's a saying, there's a universality and specificity. And I think that like how specific you are actually shows how relatable this is to people who probably aren't from Central America, right? Because my parents are from West Africa. So the idea of her wanting to be a comedian, like I remember having conversations with my mom about wanting to be in TV, and she was just so confused. She was like, "Are you going to be a newscaster? Like, what's going on?" I'm like, "No, I'm going to be a producer." And she's like, "I don't know what that is." Like, she finally realized she finally got what it was, maybe like 2 years ago. I love the characters. I love not only were you so specific in the world, you also wanted to introduce the contradictions, because I think that the best thing about this is that you took the tropes and you're turning it on its head. That's what sets it apart from everything else. I also think that your comps are really fascinating. I love the comps. Like I haven't heard Broad City be brought up in a while, and it made me remember how much I love that show. So that's really interesting to pick Broad City and have that mesh it with Insecure, but from a Central American perspective. And you're funny, like you're just naturally funny. So yeah, even though you went over, I was still like, yes, girl, tell me more. I want to hear more about this show and these characters. I just think you did such a great job. I don't have any other notes, but other than, I really don't. I think you just did such a good job pitching Mas Latina. So yeah, especially now, sorry, that's my 2-year-old. Especially now, I think that something like this is very important to be out there, because there is a hunger for more diverse representation in Latinidad. Fantastic.
I think the best compliment I could give you is that I wish we got the 20-minute version, because I wanted to hear more. The characters were so fresh and engaging, and like I could visualize them as you were pitching. The fact that like you didn't know you were pitching this until tonight, and like you were so relaxed and conversational and confident and funny, like you killed it. Like you did a great job. I think this is a project that you really should develop a bigger pitch for. Like there's definitely something here. There's an audience, there's an urgency, the way that you use your own story, not as like this is why it was just like a nice jumping off point. It felt so authentic. Like you didn't just rely upon it, you used it and then kept building and building and building. And it's like, this is great. Like these characters are awesome. I don't know, it's just really fun. And thank you. You did such a good job.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I'm going to remember that. I'm just telling you, I'm going to remember this pitch. Like just kudos to you. Seriously. That was really great.
Geneva, do you have any questions?
No, I just wanted to say thank you, and I had no idea the time stuff, and yeah, this was wonderful. I really appreciate the surprise on this Thursday. So yeah,
you did a great job. Kudos to you for just saying yes and going for it, because you nailed it. You did a great job.
Thanks, guys.
So my name is Kasim Fazal. I'm going to pitch to you today a feature called The Family Value. So tonally, think the slapstick hilarity of Spy meets the heart of My Big Fat Greek Wedding. So the idea for The Family Value came to me because of my parents. My parents immigrated from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania to London, England in the 70s, before immigrating again to Canada in the 90s. They wanted a better life for my sister and I honestly think they achieved it. I had a fantastic childhood, but I always felt different. And it's not just because I was gay, but I always felt torn between two worlds. So the world of my parents' values, the ones that they grew up with, and these new modern, these new modern values, the ones that I was growing up with. So I wanted to write a story that could blend both of our ideals together. And that's what led me to The Family Value. So what could possibly go wrong with an arranged marriage? How about everything? So step one, You have awkward virgin wedding night sex that leads to the reveal that both parties are gay. And then 9 months later, you have twins. Step 2, you move to the United States you move to the United States, become successful doctors, raise your children together as a family. All the while, you have sex with your friends on the side. Step 3, you tell your kids you're both gay and in love with your friends. Their response, Ave. Step 4, you get summoned back to the least happiest place on earth by the insufferable parents that started this whole mess in the first place. And the occasion, another arranged marriage. Step 5, you uncover the truth behind the new arranged marriage while your friends show up and surprise you. Step 6, you blow up your family secrets that will ultimately lead to the family value. And I don't know if you can see it, but this is my little, there you go, the family value.
Awesome.
Wow.
Good job. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Love how you structured that. The steps, it is clear, it's concise. I don't know where we're going. So every step I'm like, yes, what? Wait, what? Oh my God, this is even crazier. So it was fun. You set us right where we needed to be at the very top and literally just continued to paint a very full and bright and fun canvas. And I want to go into my producer mode and be like, where are you on this and development process? Who are you thinking for cast? What is the budget?
Same.
But like this is great. I love it. Great job. Yeah, good job.
So what is the budget?
I can honestly answer. I'm joking.
I'm
Okay,
so
good.
joking. I'm just saying. I'm just whatever Quinn said, and I'm just gonna go back on mute. Daniel,
You somehow managed to like tell the entire story, but not give away so much that like I'd be dissuaded from reading the script. I mean, I want to read it. Like, it sounds awesome. You go for it, right? Like, it just keeps building and building in a meaningful way, and it's like, this sounds like a shit show in the most satisfying way possible. I also love that you justify the Blue Jays hat by being from Canada, because that was the first thing I was thinking about. You're funny. You're very naturally funny. That felt effortless, and I know it wasn't. Like, great job, man. That's a really cool project that I think will resonate with a lot of people. I mean, I guess I have to ask, like, have you pitched it? Like what kind of reaction have you gotten?
Yeah, this is actually this is a script I actually wrote 2 or 3 years ago. I haven't really pitched it around. I really do think that it does need another rewrite. I've rewritten it twice before, but I still think it needs a little bit of work before I get it out there. But yeah, it's a story that's close to my heart. It's one that I really wanted to do something that would get my parents sort of involved in my storytelling and my upbringing, but in a way that really felt like new and fresh to me and my upbringing. So this is what I came up with. And yeah, it's definitely, I think that it needs another rewrite, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
What do
I
you
have a
guys say
question.
about that? Oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to know, can you remind me of the comps again that you comped?
Yeah, Spy with Melissa McCarthy,
Okay.
and My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
I do have a question. What is the spy piece of the pitch?
It's not really the story. It's just the slapstick comedy of that film and how Melissa McCarthy was just in your face and super funny. Because I imagine this piece is going to have a lot of characters, and I just imagine all of that in your face sort of dialogue and funniness that Melissa McCarthy bring to that piece. I really feel that it's in this piece as well.
Okay, I would suggest probably finding another comp,
Different one.
but I understand why you picked it. But because when I thought of Spy, I immediately thought action comedy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, and so this one doesn't feel action unless you have a big action set piece. Then that's cool. But I think My Big Fat Greek Wedding is perfect. But the other one, I would probably come up with another comp.
I was thinking like not Big Fat Greek Wedding, The Big Sick, even though that's
Yeah.
dealing with something a little bit more serious in tone, but I think that's kind of where I'm sitting in my head at least. So just throwing that out there.
Oh, that's really good. That was a great movie too.
What are you
Yeah.
guys' thoughts on a writer? I mean, every writer says that, you know, you could write 1,000 drafts afterwards, but do you think like this idea and this concept is good enough, or should he make the script so tight, you know, and keep working on it, or just go get it out there?
I would pitch it to producers and get the producers to find a way for you to get paid to rewrite it.
Yeah.
That's what I would
like
do,
that.
right?
Yeah.
That's what I would suggest. Because
That's
you know,
great.
if I were the producers on it, I would have you pitch it to me and my team. We'll read the script, and if there's work to be done, I think it's a pitch. I think you can sell this in a room. Like you are good in the room.
Me too.
Yeah, absolutely. And then yeah, you guys agree, right? Because I like I said, I'm new to the feature space, but if this was like a TV show, I'd be like, yeah, let's just pitch this, and then sell it, and then be like, oh wait, there's a script. And then rewrite it. That's what I would do. Sorry, that's a little bit too much of finesse, but that's
That was great. Thank you so much.
No, I'm saying that because as a writer, I hear you, and you're like, no, I gotta fix it. But you gotta, if this action is going on, keep it going. You know,
Momentum,
don't wait.